And that was about a 50-foot drop going off that ledge. Ironically, nobody ever ran into the creek. Nobody got that drunk. So, but the cabin was recognized for its soul food. That was Miss Ella Phelps. Miss Ella Phelps was the classist of all the joints. Its property is right next door to Glory Community Garden. The slabs are still there. Miss Phelps had a 12-room hotel on Upper Street. On Davis Street, she had 5 little houses that were connected like duplexes that she rented out. And then she had her beer joint house. In the front part of the beer joint, there was some real pretty dark, maroonish looking wood. That was the floor. But when you came into her juke joint, you had to be dressed. You didn't come into her juke joint with anything on. Back then, men wore the silver belly hats. They wore Stacey Adams shoes. A lot of the men wore khaki pants and a khaki shirt. If they didn't, they wore slacks when they went in there. You came into Miss Phelps' place and you were dressed to go. And you didn't cause no problems. She was only about this tall and about this big around. She carried a 45 in a purse. A peacemaker. And so when you went into Miss Phelps' place of business, you knew you were in there to take care of your business and then leave. You didn't cause no problems. Miss Phelps, she cooked everything. The one thing that Miss Phelps and my grandmother were good friends, and my grandma sent me over to take something to Miss Phelps, and Miss Phelps was going to give my grandmother something back, so she called me back to her bedroom, and I went back there. And this is the one thing that I've always remembered. I walked in Miss Phelps' bedroom, and there were 4 roll-top black trunks, and each of them was lifted. One of them had nothing but quarters in. One had nothing but 50 cents in. One had nothing but bills in. And I forget what the other one had in. It might have been clothes. But that's the most money I ever saw in my life, probably even today. The most money I ever saw in my life. Because she didn't believe in banks. But she had property here all over Kerrville. You know where that, on Shriner Street where the new salon is? That was one of her pieces of property early on. And of course, when she passed away, the family sold it. So she was a businesswoman. Her husband was a Spanish man by the name of Mr. Lola. Mr. Lola, he sheared sheep and goat. He could shear over 100 sheep and goat a day. They made an independent living together. And they did it by working together. The Green Door was owned by our aunt, John L. Penix and Beulah Penix. The Green Door was established somewhere around 1957, 1958 for children, because there was no place for black kids to go outside of the school. So the Green Door was established for them. The Green Door was a restaurant on the inside. It had its little kitchen, and on the back of the Green Door was a slab with a covered area over it. The covered area of the slab was probably a 20 by 12. And then you had another 35 by 35 that you can dance under. And there were youth bands in the community. There was a couple of them that they would play out there. They had a jukebox on the wall that you could put money in, select it, and the music played from the big jukebox on the inside. Well, that went on for about 5 or 6 years, and when those kids outgrew the Green Door, there was not enough kids to support it, so they began selling alcohol beverages. And I think the Green Door closed somewhere around 1981, 82. Let's see, did I miss one? I don't think so. But anyway, the juke joints played a large part in Kerrville, and it played a large part in the integration of Kerrville. There were 2 other things that played a huge part in Kerrville. One was 19th of June, or Juneteenth, Emancipation Day. That was a huge ceremony, programs in the park every 19th of June. There were not enough African Americans to support all the people that came there, so the food came from the community of Kirkwood. Any given day you went in the park on the 19th of June or the 4th of July, it was completely integrated. I remember, because my grandfather was one of them that did it, in the back of the park over on the west side, right near the fence, there was an area about from this wall to this wall. And the barbecue pit, you gotta, because I remember, because I could do this, and I could touch the pits. And I could do this and touch the pit. And it was about probably 3.5 feet wide. And that's what they would cook on. They would be up 2 nights, 2 days and 2 nights cooking, getting ready for the 4th of July, the 19th of June. And at 12 o'clock, precisely 12 o'clock, the meat was on the table. But it was community working together for community. Let's see, have I missed anything? I don't think so. Do y'all have any questions? If not, I'll ramble on.
How long did you go to Doyle?
5 years. I went to Doyle my first 5 years, and then they integrated, and I went to Peterson Middle School in 1965. I was real shy in middle school, and so your mother told some people, he's stuck up. No, that was you. And I was too shy to say something to him.
I was very shy.
I just looked at him and walked off. But I was too shy to talk. Yes, sir.
When was the All-Stars integrated?
The basketball team integrated after its 3rd year. I think they were playing.
How old were you?
I wasn't even born then. Okay, but the baseball team was integrated probably in the 1950s. Tommy McDaniels, who was the chief of police here, he was the pitcher for the Kerrville All-Stars. And they won many, many games. So, yes, ma'am.
When you refer to Prof, was that B.T.
That's B.T. Wilson.
Because he was a professor.
Right, he was a professor at Doyle. And so that was everybody affectionately called him Prof. And when you hear people talking about him now, that's what they'll call him. They'll call him Prof. All of the Doyle X's, we have a Doyle X's Alumni Association, and they come back every 2 years to celebrate here in Kirkwood, to celebrate now the life of Prof and the life of Doyle. But everyone you talk to is going to call him Prof. Everyone. Yes, sir.
At one of those reunions about 15 years ago, we had middle school black students interview different Doyle alumni.
Mm-hmm.
And I was afraid all those interviews were gone, but we may have just found them at the high school at Media Tech.
Well, that's awesome.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Please do. Yeah, Prof, he was a major factor in what all the teachers were. And the reason why the teachers were so important, because they lived in the community. They bought in, Prof made sure that he brought people in that was going to buy into what he was trying to teach. And so they not only taught with passion, they not only taught with the idea of preparing you for a better life, they taught with love. Mm-hmm. And that was the main ingredient. Because they treated you as if you were their own children. Miss Griffin, she lived down there on Shriner and Webster Street. Miss Creighton, she lived on, and Miss Cheeks, they lived on Wallace Street. Prof, he lived out around the creek, around on Old Harper Road. His house is still there. And of course, Miss Wilson lived with him. But before then, this is during the time before integration. Prof, him and Miss Wilson, they lived up here on Water Street. So Kerrville's always been a great place to live.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm kind of behind myself. Thank you for sharing the history. We're kind of new to Kerrville, so are there activities that still happen today in Kerrville with the community? Like you mentioned, the Juneteenth.
Yes, ma'am. We are preparing a May Day. George is on the board. We're trying to prepare a May Day. We hope to have a Juneteenth again. If not this year, we'll definitely have it next year. But we do programs at the Doyle Center once a month. And our next program is going to be February 25th. It's a Remember When program. And for March, we just got a program today. We're planning a blues festival, 19th of June, from 4 until 8. And there'll be music around the house during that time. We'll have vendors and people that's interested in music. It's going to be free to the public. And we did some interviews or auditions this morning And one of the young ladies is a community young lady, Miss Ashley Threadgill, who sings like a songbird. She can sing like Aretha Franklin, or she can do Mahalia Jackson, it doesn't matter. She's gonna be singing. There's a young man who came from Fredericksburg, Andrew Frimpron, who plays guitar, and he sings. He and Greg Bigcow and I just sit on the stage, that historic stage at Doyle, and just picked and played 7 or 8 songs. So out of that came our program for March. That's what we're gonna be doing in March. Again, our program from 6 to 8, probably either March 19th or March 25th. We have to iron out the date. Yeah, thank you for asking that. And we'll let you know when you say something. So we missed your dance class.
I know. The Doyle Center is the place
Yes,
to
on the
find
Doyle
out
Center.
what's happening.
Right, and if you come into Pascal Street, it's on the corner of Pascal and Barnett. If you come up Webster Street, I think it's 701 Webster, you'll see a huge pavilion there. The Dulles, that's where the Dulles, and you pull in the parking lot,
Yes.
and that's where the Dulles.
Got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I wound up doing some landscaping over at the Doyle Center through the Master Gardeners.
Okay.
And at that time, there was an abandoned basketball court, and it seemed to me that they had a swimming pool over there. at
Yes,
one
ma'am.
point. And that at the time I was doing the landscaping over there, someone had broken out all the windows in the back side of that school.
Well,
I mean, it was sort of rough.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's not nearly.
I was going to
Nowhere
say, one of
near
the things
that
that you're
rough
talking about
anymore.
sound wonderful,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
my experience over there, at that time, I was amazed.
Well, it was a vacant building, and if any building that sits vacant for long, somebody's going to
Yeah.
destroy it. Somebody's gonna pick up a rock and throw
And
it
the
over
swimming pool, whatever happened there?
The way that we understand it is that there were so many repairs that couldn't be made on the pool. And so with the city, they filled that property in. Right now, Doyle is able to use that property, and we've been using it as a parking property for events. But they put a water splash in the park.
Oh, good.
They carve a park. And that's on the right-hand side, and the playground is on the left-hand side. And the city, right now, they are doing renovations to the playground.
Oh,
So,
so
they're
things
still,
have changed.
yes, ma'am, they still have a hand in helping the community.
So, this is a little bit sensitive maybe, but I always wanted to go there, but I felt a little like I was kind of trespassing on somebody else's
Property?
you know, like, is the whole community welcoming to everybody?
Yes, yes. Yeah, you come to Doyle and you're not gonna be treated any different than my sister gonna be treated. Yeah, you
I
come
mean,
over.
I just felt like I was trespassing or something, you know, I didn't wanna.
Well, imagine how I feel when I'm invited to go to do a program, and I don't see nobody who looks like me. I don't care where it is. If I go to a cowboy portrait gathering, I'm not gonna see anybody who looks like me. You know, when I do the picker circles, I don't see nobody who looks like me. You know, so yeah, I get a little of that too until I can feel people
My wife
out.
and I have gone to several events now, we felt really, people talked to us, and felt real welcome.
Best place in
And
the
that
state.
Glory Garden gets a lot of
Yes,
publicity
ma'am.
and a lot of people coming down to that.
It really needs to be, you need to do the visit, it's absolutely
Mhm.
beautiful.
And our churches are diversity. Our churches are completely integrated. We don't have a lot of people, but we have people of every nationality in the churches. And music and spirituality, that's the common denominator. Yes, sir.
I was told that B.T. Wilson, at the beginning of every school year, would address the parents and tell them, at night, when dinner is over, clear the table, get around that table and work with your kids on homework. And second, that if somebody didn't show up for school, he'd go find them. And Billy Harding told me, he went and found her.
Right. A lot of the times, he would come by and check to see if kids are doing their homework.
Yeah.
And the way that he prepared, when he first got here in 1941, you know, you had a lot of illiteracy because people did not graduate from high school. I think the high school went through the 10th grade. You were lucky to get people to go to the 8th grade, because they had to get out and help their families work to make a living. It wasn't like they had the means to send their kids to school and get that education and then send them off to college. So when Prout got here, he started a GED program for the parents, to teach the parents to be able to teach their children. That's the type of love that he had for the community and the school. And Reverend Blackburn is absolutely right. You know, that was a guy, well, when the kids got in trouble, which some of them did, the pork chop boys, when they got in trouble, and they got picked up by the police called the Prof before he called the parents. And the kids would rather call the parents than Prof. So and Prof would go down there and take care of it. And they stay out of jail for 2 or 3 months, but they just couldn't help from getting in trouble. So they end up back there. And they were called Prof. But he was a huge hand in the community. And still
When did
is.
he die? Did he die in the 80s?
He died in 96, was it?
96?
Yeah, I think it was 1996, and his funeral was held at the municipal auditorium.
I
And
remember
it was,
big.
you couldn't even stand in there, you had to go outside. I mean, it was that many people that showed up. That's how respected he was here in the city of Kirkwood. Anyone else? Ask me anything except my finances. Well, if that's all, I'm probably gonna hit my hour.
Thank you so much.
Closing, I guess I'll do another song. And it's a Ruthie Foster song. Are y'all familiar with Ruthie Foster? Oh, yes. Okay. You know that when death comes a knocking on your mother's door saying, come on, mother, aren't you ready to go? You know your mother stoop down, buckle up them shoes, and she'll make her way to that Jordan stream singing, hallelujah, done my duty, got on my traveling shoes. You know when death comes a knocking on your father's door saying, come on, father, aren't you ready to go? You know your father stoop down, buckle up them shoes, and he'll make his way to that Jordan stream singing, hallelujah, done my duty, got on my traveling shoes. You know when death comes a knocking on your door, when death comes a knocking on my door, we'll stoop down and buckle up our shoes, find our way to them traveling blues. Thank you all very much.